Oh, hello. Can we please talk about the latest news in UFC, combat sports, all that kind of thing? Mostly focusing on a recap of UFC 287. So there's going to be spoilers in that. If you haven't seen it yet, obviously go and watch. You've probably seen it. If you're an MMA fan, you've probably seen it. Anyway, I'm Burt Green. This is the Burt Locker. So in the Burt Locker this week, it's mostly UFC 287 recap, plus a couple of bits of MMA news that seem to have come up as a result of some of the fights therein. So we'll start off with the 287 recap, as I said. So look, one thing I'm pretty gutted about is I did notice two fighters conspicuously absent from the card, which were Chris Barnett and Bahamondes. Both their fights got cancelled. I hope they reschedule them very soon. Watson and Cavillo, come on, they must both be done now, surely. Like, between them, in their last 10 fights combined, they have one win between them. That's not great. I mean, I know that the strawweight ladies division is not the deepest, but surely, I've seen people cut for like less than half that kind of loss ratio. I think maybe they need to match up. They need to fight loser leaves town. A loser leaves town match. Michelle Waterson versus Cynthia Cavillo. Loser leaves town. Done. Make it happen. Rodriguez did very well against Rosas Jr. I did call it. I thought Rosas Jr., he was going to get found out because I thought Rodriguez was just better in every single area. And it turns out a broken clock is right, a few times a day, sometimes. A broken clock is right sometimes. That's the saying, right? So, yeah, called that one. Didn't call a lot of the other ones, I'll be honest. A lot of my picks were absolute garbage, save for the main event. You've got Kevin Holland. I don't know why I picked Ponzinibbio, because I even acknowledged in my pick that I thought that Holland was better in every single area, and he was. He looked really good, really fantastic, so good for him. Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez, that was just a brilliant fight for as long as it lasted. Definitely, if you didn't catch that fight, go back and watch it. It was super fun. Just back and forth. Look, Yanez was having a lot of success. There were a lot of positives to take away from that fight for Yanez, but the biggest positive to take away from the fight was obviously for Rob Font, who scored a really nasty knockout. And it was a much needed one as well. Rob Font is going to be going back up the division. Is it enough to get him a title shot straight away? I don't know. Mate, he might need to get one more fight. I don't know. Maybe is the answer to that. Burns versus Masvidal was more or less as we expected. It's just it was an okay fight. Far better fight, I would add, was Chris Curtis versus Kelvin Gastelum. Brilliant fight that may have been fight of the night. Again, another one. If you didn't watch it, go back and watch that fight. It was a real treat. Telling you, lovely to see Kelvin Gastelum, getting back in the win column as well, because he's just been one of my favourites for a long time. And then obviously I digress, so I went back down the card, which is unusual. It's an unusual way to recap a night of fights, to go to the co-main event and then switch back to the headliner of the prelims, but that's how we do things on the Burt Locker. I'm unorthodox, baby. So the main event, come on, you've got to give it to Israel Adesanya on that one. He was not letting Pereira off the hook this time. That knockout, he meant it. It was not a knockdown, it was a knockout. He followed it up. It was brilliant. I mean, was he baiting him in? I mean, it's a dangerous strategy if so, because it looked like his leg was kind of toast. But actually, the way he was walking around after he'd knocked him out, his leg seemed kind of fine. He might have been baiting him in to try and make a mistake, because, look, we'd all seen Adesanya hurt Pereira in many of their meetings before. In fact, the second kickboxing bout, if that was in MMA, then that's a win for Adesanya, because there are no standing 8 counts in MMA. So people keep talking about, Pereira's still up like 2. It's like, no, they're 1-1 in MMA. That's it. They're 1-1 in MMA. Kickboxing, similar, yes, but the rules of the arena dictate the winner of the fight, and it's a different rule set, and the rules make all the difference. Because as I said, if you were fighting under MMA rules in their second kickboxing fight, Adesanya won, because that was a knockout. Do you know what I mean? Like, they don't give you 8 seconds to get back to your feet in MMA. So, everyone talking about how the kickboxing matches mean that Pereira is still up. Actually, I think that, no, I just view it as them being 1-1 in MMA. and that was devastating. And the celebration afterwards, the fact that he was pointing at Pereira's kid, because the thing is, Pereira's kid was a real dick after Adesanya got knocked out in their second kickboxing meeting. Pereira's kid went running over and did some real trolling of Adesanya. So yeah, I might have pointed at him as well. Say, yeah, take that, you little snot-nosed punk kid. Look at your dad now. I just knocked his ass into another dimension. You know what I mean? It's all fun. Like, obviously, he's just having a bit of fun, isn't he? He was hyped up. And, yeah, sometimes kids can be dicks. And sometimes, you get one up on it. I'd be tempted to do that kind of taunting as well. I'll be honest. Anyway. Before we go into the news, I just want to say, if you enjoy this content, please hit subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. So, the biggest question people are asking is, should Pereira have an instant rematch? My answer to that is no. Absolutely not. Not an instant rematch. That is crazy. He did not defend the title one time. Okay? The reason that Adesanya got an instant rematch is because he had 6 title defenses. You have to give the champion, a long-time champion, gets an instant rematch. If you haven't defended the belt, no instant rematch. It's that simple for me. It really is. And as I mentioned before, look, the other wins for Pereira were in kickboxing, different rule set, so they do not count. They are 1 and 1 in MMA, and that is it. Right? Pereira did very well. Because it basically, look, it's only because of Adesanya that he got to the title as quickly as he did. Let's be fair. He's built his MMA career off the back of Adesanya. He rode the comet tail of Adesanya straight. He skipped the line, got straight into the #1 contender spot, won the belt. Fantastic job. Absolutely brilliant. What a story. But then, Adesanya's come back and he's knocked him out clean. Nothing controversial there. Just knocked him out, cleaned his clock, and taken his title back. Unfortunately, Pereira didn't defend the belt. He is not due an instant rematch. Because otherwise, if you're doing instant rematches for the champion no matter what, then you just get instant rematch after instant rematch. You'll just get the same guys just fighting over and over again. That doesn't make any sense at all. In my opinion, no instant rematch for Pereira. Pereira, he's got a bit of a tough prospect now, honestly, because he's going to have to fight a top 3 guy, which leaves Whittaker and Vettori, both of whom will likely look for the path of least resistance. And we've seen, Adesanya had some success with the takedowns in the first fight. Vettori, he's got an excellent double leg. Really, really strong top game as well. And so does Whittaker. They're both slightly more well-rounded. They might not be as good at kickboxing, but they're probably more well-rounded for MMA. Both those matchups are very tough for Pereira. I'm not saying he can't win those fights. When he's standing up and every fight starts standing, Pereira has every chance of knocking your ass out. And that is a fact. But he's got to go through some of those tough matchups now. He got a pretty easy road to the title, let's be fair. Do you know what I mean? Bruno Silva's like another kickboxer. He's been basically put against mostly like kickboxers in MMA. He's had an easy road to the title, but now he's lost that belt. He's going to have to fight some of those really top contenders. We might find out where his grappling defense really is. But you know what, Pereira, he may not be able to make that weight for long. He's a big dude. He might go up to light heavyweight. Hell, he could go up to heavyweight. The amount that he weighs when he's not cutting weight, he could fight at heavyweight. Oh, I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Duplessis. Maybe he fights Duplessis. That'd be a fun one. I don't know. Yeah, either way, heavyweight's an option for Pereira. Leon versus Colby. I'll say that now because obviously Masvidal failed to get the job done against Gilbert Burns. He looked honestly a little bit underwhelming. I thought that there was no real urgency there. I think that he'd already decided that he was retiring, and when a fighter has decided that, then it's not going to do much for their performances. But Masvidal's done a great job in his career, honestly. You know, he got the fastest knockout in history. He's got some real highlight reels. He's fought for the belt. He's had some great storied matchups. He really has had a phenomenal career. Started off in bare knuckle boxing with the Kimbo Slice guys, and he's managed to build a huge career, made a lot of money. He's got his own fight promotion. He has been absolutely fantastic. I wish him all the best, because Masvidal, he's been one of my favourites for a while. I know that he's not necessarily like in the elite section of the welterweights, but he's always fun to watch, and there was always a good chance he was going to be baptizing somebody. He was always fun in press conferences. I like that he is real. He is who he is, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, congratulations to Jorge Masvidal on an absolutely phenomenal career. Really fantastic career. Will he make it into the Hall of Fame? In my opinion, I don't think he should be. I don't think that's a Hall of Fame. I think it's a top tier career. I don't think it's a Hall of Fame career. But hey, they just put Cowboy Cerrone in, so who knows, right? There's a good chance that he gets in on that basis. But looking forward to the welterweight title, it's got to be Colby Covington now. It has to be. It makes the most sense at this point, and it's going to be the most money for Leon Edwards. Now, a lot of people are saying that Leon was scared to fight Colby Covington. Look, he's just dealt with Usman's wrestling just last month, and he looked phenomenal doing it. And so Leon's no picnic for a wrestler. I don't know if this is a brilliant matchup for Colby Covington, honestly. I don't know if Covington's got the power to put Leon away, because that's not how Covington fights. Covington, he goes with volume. If he puts on a pace and just keeps on peppering Leon Edwards, he could probably, he could put on a cardio pace and win a decision, but he doesn't usually throw with power. It's not like he's got that fight-ending power like Usman's got, where you've got to be a little bit careful with that right cross, because actually he's got a lot of power on it. Leon Edwards doesn't really, not Leon Edwards, Colby Covington doesn't really threaten with a lot of power, and we've seen that Leon Edwards does threaten with power. I'm not sure that kickboxing with Leon Edwards is going to go particularly well for Colby Covington. And we saw, actually, Leon Edwards has got some really good takedown defense, because he managed to stop Usman taking him down quite a few. And when you take him down, he's very good at getting back to his feet. So that's an interesting fight. It really is. And they can do that in England. Colby Covington comes in as the big heel, the big bad guy. But I'm not betting against Leon in that one. I think he's one of the most dangerous kickboxers in the UFC. We've seen him take out some of the best competition there is in Kamaru Usman, and I don't know if you could say comfortably that Colby Covington is better than Kamaru Usman, considering Usman beat him relatively comfortably twice. So yeah, interested to see it, looking forward to it. The troll of the week this week is just it's all on the main event of 287. It's got basically it's taking a scene from Friday. It's a classic where they're holding his dead friend, and that is Pereira's team watching the Israel Adesanya KO celebration, because Adesanya, he made the most of it, and fair play to him. Look, he did, he fought one of the most dangerous guys in the world, and he came out on top, and he got to celebrate, and he was basically mocking Pereira's bow and arrow celebration, where after he knocked him out, he got up and just fired 3 arrows into him. It's just, fair play to Israel Adesanya. And that's all I've got time for this week. I'm going to be doing a casuals guide very shortly for the UFC in Kansas City, headlined by Max Holloway and Arnold Allen. So go and check out that video. It's just a fun, fast, informative, quick way of going through the entire card, getting a bit of information on every single fighter, and it's just fun. It's designed to be light and fun, and just gives you a bit more information for the deeper fights into the card, so you get the most out of watching the card on Saturday night. And so obviously subscribe and keep your odds long and your bets terrible. Thank you.